hating, speculating about that paper. I feature. Burn them eyes, make that fire move on higher. I feature. Bring fame to the name, make them change it. I feature. While they hating, speculate, anticipate it. I feature. While they hating, speculating about that paper. I feature. Burn them eyes, make that fire move on higher. I feature. Bring fame to the name, make them change it. I feature. While they hating, speculate, anticipate it. Everybody dance around loud as you can't stop hard, put your feet on the floor. Ain't nobody fly like you, lift it up, turn around.
What up, everybody? Let your friends and your family know that we have an exclusive interview that is about to happen tonight. Now, I know some of you guys may be like, okay, who is Audrey Stevenson and why is Bishop T.D. Jakes in the Potter's House name in the title of your going on? Don't you touch T.D. Jakes. Let me tell y'all something. The only thing I do on this show is talk about what is already publications. If it ain't already out, I'm not going to talk about it. And the only thing I do, and you do, all the co-hosts when you call in, only thing we do is just discuss. We basically have kitchen table talk out in front of the whole world and everybody get to participate during paid. Because it's the talk, and this is what we have going on in our world, and this is what we do. So that's what we're going to do tonight. I know some of you may not have known, but I knew, and if you've been following me since March, you know that I discussed this big old, I'm going to say brawl. This girl got beat up. She got beat up at the church house. She got beat all the way up at the church house, and it was at one of the Potter House's locations. So what has happened recently is that she has filed a lawsuit. And I happen to have some information concerning that lawsuit. But I gotta catch you up. So those of you that do not know anything about this, I'm going to catch you up in just a few minutes. So I have a video. I actually have the footage of when she was mishandled at the Potter's House, Fort Worth. Now, for those of you that do not know, Bishop T.D. Jakes and the Potter's House has five, I guess you can say 5 locations. There's Dallas, the main Potter House. It's the one that we always on every Sunday. So many of y'all may not know, but on Sunday mornings, you can find most black folk is going to be watching the Potter's House, is going to be looking at Bishop Jakes. That's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be watching Bishop Jakes. We might flip over we might do a little piece of Creflo. Who else is there? We might do a little piece of Bill Winston. Who? A little piece of Ivy Hilliard. Who else be on at that time to be pretty good? But basically, everybody gonna be watching Bishop T.D. Jakes. Thousands upon thousands is gonna be watching Bishop T.D. Jakes, because I know that's what I be doing. You know, that's just what I be doing. What I got to do here at the house, and I be listening to T.D. Jakes to see what he gonna say. So anyway, at the Fort Worth location. Oh, let me tell you how many churches they got. They got the Fort Worth location. That's where the girl got beat all the way up. Then is the Dallas one. That's the one everybody watching. Like I said, thousands upon thousands to be watching up there. Yep, we do. Then Fresco location is where the two black white people are. The Bradens, Cheryl and Bishop Jody. Hold on, is it Jody or Joe B? It ain't Jody. It's not with a D. It's Joe B. You sure?
I saw it on Google when I looked at the churches.
Is it Jody or Joe B? But anyway, Bishop and Pastor Brady, which were in North Carolina, the River Church. That's where I'm from, Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina. But now I'm in Atlanta. And I remember when they came there, they were there for about 10 years. Totally impacted the city. Had a great thing going on there. Everybody was talking about, is it Joe what? Joe B. Joe B for big. Because it's the man that is one wide. In fact, he is the white Rance Allen. If you don't know who Rance Allen is, I need for you to go into your Googleations and type in Rance Allen. And then you go to your Googleations and you type in Joe B. That's right. Joe B. Brady. That's twins. They are twins. But anyway, they're real good at what they do. And then the other one, y'all know when Chris Hill had all that mess to go on, we talked about that on the show as well. We talked about it. I said what I thought about it. You know, it was a terrible thing. I actually think Chris Hill is a nice guy, but he fell on some hard times. He had some stuff going on. And you know how Jakes is. Jakes is not fooling up when nobody got no craziness going on. He will walk away from you and go about his business. He love you, you know, but he got stuff to do. And so he go by his business. And so they take Chris up out of there and then put Sarah and her husband. Hold on, what's her husband name? I can't say his name. Is it Torindo or Torre? But no, but her husband, because Sarah is one of the other children. That okay, Sarah, Cora. Hold on, what's his wife's name? Sarita. Okay, Sarita, Cora, Sarah, Jermaine, and then one more that be on the road with him. Dexter Jr. That's it. I think that's all of them. They got 159 children. They got a whole bunch of children. Okay, but anyway, he had a church in California. I think he still got that church, but I think they done sort of fell up on the Potter House Code. So Bishop asked him and put him and Sarah over there at the church in Denver. But you know that church in Denver is the one that Chris had, like I said. But that church, I'm not mistaken. Y'all got to correct me. I remember a white man pastoring that church in Denver. What's his name? Dennis Leonard? I might have that story all mixed up. So if y'all in the comments or you in YouTube, hold on, put allegedly down there. Hopefully it's not. Allegedly it's not. We got the wrong setup. Okay, well, can't you fix allegedly right quick? No, I just remind me to say it. You ain't got to put it down there. Just remind me to say allegedly every once in a while. Allegedly. 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 With no ill intentions. I thought Dennis Little was over that church. And Jeff, weren't you the main pastor at the campus at the river up under Jody and Joe B and Cheryl Braden? Verify that for me just to make sure. Okay, but anyway. So, at the Fort Worth location, the pastor of that church, I'm about to give his name. His name is Patrick and Victoria Winfield. In fact, put this picture up there. I think he up there somewhere. This is the pastor of the Fort Worth location. Look like he is a smart man. And I can look at him and say, I think he's a good man. And I look at this way. I put a picture of his family up there, right beside that, to the right. To get just to the right. That's the left. To the right. Jesus Lamb. Oh, Lord have mercy. Look at the family. His wife is fine. That's a fine woman. They got nice, handsome. They got 3 boys. Wow. I never understand why Jesus them did me the way that I got 2 girls, and I feel like if I done it a third time, I would end up with another little girl. And I can't understand why the Lord do me like that. I want at least one Larry Jr. that I can train him in all my ways. All my ways. I know what the Bible say, but y'all know what we do. That ain't what we do. We train him in our ways. And so I would like to train so I can train him up in all my ways, and he would be directing his path according to my ways. You know, but this like a very smart man, like a really nice man. And according to the video, Victoria, his wife, is also a nice woman, because in the video, the person that was assaulted, put her picture up there. The person that was assaulted, her name is, and I may end up saying Audrey. That's a move, nigga.
You ain't said it yet?
I date one woman with her head shot in the square up there. How you get that mixed up? Okay, I need for you to just be quiet and move like you're supposed to do, so I can stay in the spirit of comedy and commentating. So this, I may end up calling her Aubrey, but her name is Audrey. There's a white girl that come in my dreams sometimes named Aubrey, and she's from P. Diddy's show. And the girl is fine, and she had danced around in my dreams so darn much that when I see all anywhere, I just go all, when it comes to Autumn and Auburn, I say Aubrey. You know, but her name is Audrey, ain't that right? Audrey. So I gotta remember that. Okay. Well, anyway, I seen the video back in March. And the video is like 12, 13 minutes long. But in order for you to understand this lawsuit that she has filed against T.D. Jakes and the Potter's House, it's against both of them. In order for you to understand it, you have to see this video. So I'm only going to play 5 minutes of it. But let me tell you what I've put together. You're going to literally see what happened from the time she was on the stage to the time that she went in the back room. Let me tell you what happened. It was said in the write-up that she went on stage to do the greeting. And in the fight and the brawl, you can hear one of the elders, the administrative elder, I think her name is Rhonda Lewis. She began to say, girl, you weren't supposed to have your hips up there on that stage. You sat down. I want to know what she was sat down for. And I'm going to ask her mama. I hope her mama going to tell me, because her mama, it will be on the line in just a few minutes. And we're going to get to ask her questions. And I'm going to let her tell a story, because everywhere I read, even in Bishop T.D. Jakes' answer to this whole debacle, he even said that there were some surrounding issues. So I want to know what they were. I want to know what they were. You want to know what they were. And I also want to understand why in the whole hell and heaven is this lawsuit against the Potter's House and Bishop T.D. Jakes, when I know T.D. Jakes wasn't there at the house. He was at the Dallas. So how come it ain't against Patrick Winfield or Victoria Winfield? I mean, if you want to get the leadership, although they were just the campus pastors. Or how come it just ain't directly to the people that was harassing you, and that big old boy named Brandon that jumped up on you and held you down and threw you away and locked you up in a room? That's what I want to know. Okay, so let's go ahead and watch this video. Pay close attention. Put your ear things in there and turn your everything up so that you can hear what happened. You got to watch it, because I can't show this again in the program. This is 5 whole minutes out my show. I don't think I might be able to show one more again, but it's a whole bunch to be sharing. So this is 5 minutes. Watch it. You're going to see her on the stage. Pay attention.
Good morning, Potter's House. Y'all looking good. Anybody ready to bless the Lord for the rest of our days? For the rest of our days. Now we are in the right place at the right time for our dream and for our visionary. Can we give it up for our Bishop T.D. Jakes and his wife Sarita Jakes, and for our campus pastor right here in Fort Worth, Patrick Winfield, and his lovely wife, Veronica Winfield. We thank you for coming to worship with us this morning. And if you are streaming online, we thank you for tuning in. Now here at the Potter's House of Fort Worth, we love to show love. We have this thing called Hug Therapy. Family, you know what to do. Step out of your role and find 5 or 6 people to hug on and love on. 5 or 6. Don't be shy.
So, I want to be clear. On the stage, you are not allowed to do anything on the stage. Now, they just said to me that you stated, the pastor said you could do the stage. Am I clear about that?
No, I called the First Lady, and she said they had no regulation of me not being able.
Who has no regulation?
First Lady and pastor has no regulation of me being serving under any type of restriction, and that we're going to have a meeting involving you and Louise. So that's where I met with First Lady. I've already called her and sent her email too.
So first, Pastor, dude, I want you to hear what I'm hearing right here. So when I confront this, say what you said one more time. I just want to make sure he heard it.
I've already given First Lady a call, and she said under no circumstances did you, Louise, or anybody tell her that I was not to sit down or anything, and we are going to have a meeting with you involved.
Who is we?
And Louise.
So my question.
Well, let's
my
talk.
question is, did Louise ever tell you that you're saying?
Louise did, but Louise said he didn't sit me down, that you had a problem with me. Louise, hold on. Ma'am,
don't ma'am me.
don't ma'am you. We're in the house. We're in the house of the Lord.
I know. That's my point. That
Ma'am, let's calm down. And I did nothing wrong.
Absolutely, because
Ma'am,
you don't go to Lady V when someone is giving you call up under production.
And Louise did not sit me down. Today he said to me, he said he set me down last Sunday. I said, okay, we're gonna have a meeting. We're gonna call Pastor. We're gonna get up. Ma'am, excuse me. This is what I want to do because I don't serve the Lord under restriction. Because you have to understand, this is spiritual. This is spiritual. This is not spiritual. This is not spiritual. This is not spiritual. No, this is not spiritual. We're in the house of the Lord, and aren't you an elder?
And your point is what? Right now I'm the church administrator.
Ma'am. But hold on,
let me be clear. Let me be clear because I'm the church administrator.
You're getting frustrated.
You know why I'm getting frustrated? Because I don't do lies. I don't do
Who
lies.
lied?
You did.
What did I lie about? Louise told me. No, I didn't.
Down.
Louise just told. So what did Lupe? She said you were going to be a part of the meeting because you're the one that said this and started this. Because yes, ma'am. You asked Louise to sit me down. Louise never had a problem with me. And you've been blackballing me for months. So let's be real, ma'am. And you're not being, you told me to shut up. I'm being spiritual. I'm being spiritual right now. Because you're an elder. At the end of the day, you need to give me spiritual guidance.
Yes, and guess what? I'm trying to give it to you, but this
no, you're not, man. You're yelling at me and you're having an attitude.
You know why I have an attitude? Because I don't do lies.
I'm not a liar. I'm not a liar. I'm not a liar. What did Louise say? What did Louise say?
You just said to Pastor Winfield. You told him Pastor Winfield.
No, I told him I called First Lady, and she said, "Why did I do that? Because I have the opportunity. I have the right to. I have the right to call anybody because you are." As an elder of the church, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself, and you should, and everybody, you should be ashamed of yourself. No, please don't do that. Because if this is how this church, operates, if this is how, Brandon, you're one-sided here. If this is how this,
no, you talking to me. Let me explain something.
You're gonna put your hands on me.
Put my hands on you. Let me explain something to you.
Brandon, you putting your hands on me. Brandon, you putting your hands on me. I'm trying to leave. I'm not pushing you. I'm trying to leave, Brandon. I'm trying to leave. Let me leave. Let me leave. Brandon, let me leave.
We're going to get this in the bud today.
Let me leave. Brandon, let me leave. Get off of me. Brandon, what? Are you freaking kidding me? Brandon, are you kidding me? Brandon, stop. Brandon, stop. Stop! I didn't do it! Stop! Stop! I didn't do anything! Brandon, I didn't do anything! Stop! Stop!
Brandon! You know what? In all honesty, because I hadn't seen this clip until, I haven't seen it since like the beginning of the year, like April, when I first talked about it. But to be 100% honest, you could literally feel what she was feeling at the time. You can feel her voice elevated and went to the closed in feeling like she was being trapped, because then immediately she wanted to leave, and then her being ganged up on because there were 3 people in the room. The female, the voice that you heard, her name is Rhonda Lewis. She's the elder administrator for 10 plus years. And the big guy, the big old guy, Brandon Amy, he's the head of security for 10 plus years. And then there was Deontay Graham. We didn't see him nowhere, but he was actually in the room. So this happened on March the 25th of 2018. No, you can put it there. Yes, you can see. So there go Rhonda, and there go Brandon. And there go, of course, that's Audrey, excuse me. I told y'all can do this. I already covered. I already told you that. And you can hear when she started to scream. Now listen, you can find it online. It's longer. She continued to scream. They continued to tussle. They wouldn't give her her purse, and they wouldn't let her leave. So the actual charge, actually what she is suing Bishop T.D. Jakes and the Potter House concerning is false imprisonment, and I think emotional distress or emotional stress or something of that nature. And I just want to say this, that when I saw this, you know, I couldn't help but feel, and all women have, I got this thing when it comes to women, I have to watch because it's really tricky. A woman can get over on me and use me because I just got this natural soft spot, you know. So when a woman is crying or she's hurting, I got this thing that really bothers. So them screams that she was doing for me shot right through me. Ow, Brandon! Ah, Brett! It just shot right through me. I really couldn't take all that screaming because I can feel what she was feeling. Now, I don't understand, and I'm so glad her mom is going to be calling in, because I don't understand how it can even get to this. I don't understand it. It's like there was an escalation. So what I said in the show, I said, you know, this is really bad. This does not really look good. I said, although Bishop T.D. Jakes was not there, and this was not the main show enough Potter's House, although all of them is Potter's House, but you know what I mean. I said, he got to say something. It wasn't even 24 hours. He had to release a statement. So I'm going to read this statement so we can hear directly from Bishop T.D. Jakes and what he said concerning this whole ordeal. All right. It said, while honoring our 2018 TORI graduates at the Potter's House Dallas, an unfortunate incident occurred at our Potter's House of Fort Worth campus. To accurately assess the occurrence, both Pastor Winfield II and myself required time to evaluate the situation completely and without bias. Statements from all persons on staff have been reviewed meticulously to comprehend what actually occurred. While many of the extenuating circumstances are not shown in the video that was published March the 25th, 2018, this still does not justify the lack of professionalism exhibited by the safety officer, Mr. Amy. Brandon, we require and expect from all of our employees, what we acquire and respect for all our employees. Emotions quickly escalated and a complete breakdown of communication occurred, resulting in what played out on video. I'm extremely, this is Jakes now, I'm extremely disappointed. That's how he would say it. I'm extremely disappointed and apologize for how Miss Stevenson was treated and the ill conduct she received. Privately, we will be reaching out to Miss Stevenson to offer her the apology she rightly deserves. Mr. Amy's tenure with us has been a positive one. This unfortunate incident, however, has endangered his continuance with our ministry pending the outcome of a comprehensive review which is consistent with our protocols. Understand that what occurred was not handled according to our safety guidelines that all officers are required to adhere to while working for the Potter's House. Effective immediately, I have ordered a policy review with all of our safety officers to ensure that delicate situations like these are handled appropriately. Throughout our entire ministry, we go to great lengths to minimize as many inconveniences to our weekly parishioners while providing proper protection to themselves, their families, children, and belongings with help from safety and police officers. It is never our aim to ask someone to exit our premises, but when it is necessary, we hope all responses are met with appropriate and professional behavior. We proudly and warmly open our church doors each and every week to thousands of parishioners each week from all backgrounds. We are taking immediate steps to ensure our employees continue serving our community and the communities of the world with excellence, protecting the safety and dignity of all who worship at any of our locations. We'll continue to be Paradigm Mount. Lord, this is just so bad. This is so sad. And I felt so bad when I heard about this because, you know, we get a whole lot of craziness that happens, that comes across the blogs, that comes across the vloggers, the YouTubes. It happens on Facebook, on Twitter. So it happens with Walmart. It happens with Target. It happens with Chick-fil-A. And you know that's heaven on earth. It happens in Zaxby's, and it happens everywhere, at the high-end places and the low-end. People always going to the yep.com pages, always Twitter. But when it happened in the church house, it just seemed like it's just extremely disappointing. You're not supposed to go to the church and get roughed up by the elders. You're not supposed to go to the church house and get roughed up, thrown to the ground. A little tiny woman. She got a lot of mouth, though. She loud. She ain't had nothing wrong with her throat. You know, she got there and talk right, bold. Praise the Lord, our campus pastor, our bishop, and Serena Jakes. And Brandon. And she stood toe-to-toe with Rhonda. Rhonda was sort of, because she said, dude. She said to somebody, she said, dude, I'm just trying to talk. Let you stand right here as you see us talk. I said, Rhonda ain't no joke. And Rhonda was like, shh. I'm about to tell her. She said, did you tell me shut up? And then Rhonda backed up from there. But Rhonda was like on flip mode. She was like, girl, do you know I am Rhonda? I've been here for 10 plus years. And if I say you sat down, I don't care that you call Lady Victoria Winfield and tell her, you know, because you know how pastors is. The pastor's like, oh, no, baby, you going up there. You just let God use you. No, it's all right. It's all right. And she probably ain't called nobody and told the person whoever sat her down. We're going to find out from the mama because she online. I see it right there, so I'm about to go to her. She probably ain't tell the people online down the line that no Audrey can get up there because Rhonda and Brandon and the other little boy that was in there, I don't know what his name is, they won't have it. I mean, and throw her to the ground. Now, you know good and well, we got to agree with Jakes. That's just all out of order. All out of order. It's all out of order. That was wrong. Especially little girl. She looks like she's short, about that tall. It's like she's short. That just should not have happened. So I want to find out. I got some questions. I want to know some things. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to run this advertisement. And of course, I want you guys to sign up and buy a ticket and go to LA's. I think it's this weekend. So take a tail on there and go support Dr. Holly Carter and her event, and Robin Reid. You need to go, especially if you feel like you're called to be outside the four walls of the church and you want to get your foot wet and into Holly Durn Wood. All right, so I'm going to play that, and when we come back, the mom is already on the phone, and we about to have a conversation.
Support both of your favorite digital show with just a text. Support Larry Reid Live by texting GIVE to 404-800-4530. Text GIVE to 404-800-4530 today.
The Merge Summit. The Merge Summit is back. October 11th through 13th at the Universal Hilton in Universal City. Celebrating 10 years of excellence. This year's Merge Summit Experience. Presented by AIDS Healthcare Foundation and Walgreens. Promises to deliver power-packed masterclasses, networking opportunities, and career-defining moments. All led by some of the entertainment's most successful artists, actors, creators, entertainers, and executives in TV, film, digital media, music, and more. If you are an aspiring writer, artist, actor, director, or producer, and you have a heart for the entertainment business, the Merge Summit 2018 is for you. October 11th through 13th. Special discounted early bird registration available now for limited time only at mergesummit.com. That's mergesummit.com. The Merge Summit to the 10th hour. 10 years and growing. Don't miss it. The Merge Summit is a production of Relevate Entertainment, proudly presented by AHF and Walgreens.
If you are just tuning in, you missed the raw footage of this beatdown that is an Aubrey. I don't know why I can't get this in my spirit. That Audrey received at the hands of Rhonda and Brandon and the other boy that was in the room. Let me give you his name. His name is Deontay Graham. The pastors of that location, the campus pastors, is Patrick and Veronica Whitfield. I showed you a picture of them already. The injuries that she received, you know, I didn't even put that in there. I got pictures of the injuries, but I'm sure it's online somewhere. but she experienced a sprained wrist, a concussion, and a cervical sprain. I guess from being slammed down. Dog, Brandon. Dog, she got a full beat down in the house of God. But the potter wants to put her back together. It's the potter's house. You are broken. That's Jermaine and what's the name? Stop by the potter's house. Well, don't go to this one. So I'm just playing back. You go over there. Anything to if you need mending, do not stop by. Not fourth ward where Brandon at. They fired him. Okay, you know I'm just joking. So if y'all get offended, you don't have to take me with a grain of salt, because this is just my personality. Okay? But don't you go support all things that Bishop Jakes and the Potter House do. Just make sure you wear a helmet. Breastplate of righteousness. I was playing. All right, she on the phone. So let's get to talking with her. Thank you so much for being on the line. Mom, that's your name tonight. Your name is Mom. We don't care what your first name is. You're going to be Mom today. Mama of Audrey Stevenson. How are you right now?
I'm not good listening to your recap.
Oh, you're not? Okay, tell me.
It's a bit disturbing.
Tell me.
Yeah, it's a bit disturbing still.
Oh, you said it's
still,
you mean happened. Oh, you saying that it's still? I thought you said you had a problem with what I say because I comedian and commentate, but you talking about just reliving the event. That's what it is. No. Okay.
Reliving the event, absolutely.
So how long were you a member of the Potter's House Church? Because didn't Audrey come to the church as a result of you being a member there with Patrick Whitfield?
That's right. I was at the church 4 years before my daughter came.
Okay, now how hard was it to get her into church? Because I did read some documents online and watch some videos, and it seems as though that she really wasn't into church and didn't want to do church at all.
So not exactly the case. Audrey was born into holiness. Our entire family is saved on both sides, her dad's side as well as mine. So she was born into church. She, as most children do, kind of got away from that in like maybe late teens and was going through some things, very difficult things for her, the challenge of wanting her own independence and fighting what was in her, the way she was raised. And I'm talking about spiritually.
Gotcha.
And I was at the church and had spoke with some of the elders and different ones and had asked them to pray for her and hoping that she would come there. And she came back home, and as a condition for her to come back into my house, and now it's a regret of mine, I said she had to come back to the church.
You know what? If that ain't holiness, you got to be a mother in Zion. That is Ethelene Reid, my mama. In fact, because I wear earrings, but ain't got nothing in tonight. But if I go to the house, I got to take my earrings out. She said, this my house is consecrated to God. You sound like one of them old mothers said, you can come back and live at the house, but you taking your black in to church.
That's right.
So what is it that disturbed you? You said as I begin to recap, it disturbed you. Tell me what disturbs you the most about this entire situation.
That it happened in the house of the Lord. Let me just say this. Something was going on before the actual event that happened inside that room. Okay. They ushered my child into a disclosed room. Nobody knew that she was in this room. They ushered her from the stage into this room.
Okay.
And I guess a couple of months before that, when Audrey came in the church, she had a sexual preference that was not for men.
Okay.
And when she came in the church, Audrey began to change her life. God began to change Audrey in the midst of the people. She came in one way and was leaving out another way. She totally changed her life. She stopped doing the things that she was doing, ripping and running in the streets. She went from coming in looking like Butch to looking like Audrey, and had cleaned her life up and was working in the church. Audrey had been working in the production ministry for over a year. And in December had actually received an award for outstanding service, because at the campuses, you have to be at the church at 7:30. So everything is a production.
Right.
Like how when you used to go to church, you would just praise the Lord, or you would just sing out of the depths of your heart. Well, not at the Potter's house. At the Potter's house, everything is a production. So you have to get there early enough so you can practice. Yeah. And because she was working on production, she had to be there at 7:30 to help facilitate.
Yeah, because in the video, Rhonda Lewis said production. She kept talking about production. So that, okay, I got you. And I do understand you. I don't know if you know, I pastored 20 years, and it was like a production on Sundays. So you had to get there 2-3 hours early and all that kind of going on. Got you. All right.
So, I work a lot, and so some Sundays I wouldn't be there. And so probably about 4 or 5 weeks in a row, my daughter and I are very close. Even in her wrong, it's nothing that she doesn't do that she doesn't share with me. We talk very emphatically. And so she began to tell me that she felt like the people in the church were distancing her. And my daughter was coming home like she was at high school. How people get bullied, and then they are alienated and excluded and things of that nature. And so I'm like, what is going on? So she began to tell me that this woman who was Elder Rhonda's friend, and I believe her name is Omaria or something of that nature. I'm not even sure how to pronounce it. Nevertheless, she had begun to put rumors on Audrey, say she was on stage with no underwear on. I'm talking about in the church. Jeez. Now, what I found out later is that Rhonda and this woman are very good friends, like besties or whatever.
Right.
So this Audrey, when Audrey began to change, other young ladies started to see the change in her. Some accepted it, some did not. Well, she had this one girl that she was running with by the name of Reid. They were running together. This girl was coming to my house, picking up Audrey almost every other day. They were friends. And so she was also confused about her sexuality when she came into the church.
Okay.
So she started to put on, wigs and try to, spruce herself up to make her
more ladylike,
more feminine. Yeah. And so at that time, this same lady who spreaded the rumor about Audrey told Reid, you need to take that wig off. Like, that's ugly.
Oh.
And so this girl, Reid, called my house and said, hey, she made me feel bad, and I began to cry, and I just felt so bad. And so I said, maybe I'll talk to her about it, because I'm thinking, because as I said, I've been in church all of my life. And so I was taught that if you have all against your sister or brother, you go to them privately and confront them with a spirit of love. So I went to say something to this lady, and I asked her, I said, I just want to tell you, sister, I said, even before I begin to speak, I want you to know that I mean this in love, that there's no animosity here. But I went on to explain to her that she was making the young girl feel badly. And so right away, I can tell that, and I will tell you, because I worked so much, I had no idea that I was going to church at the club. I didn't know these people were like this. Right away, she began to swing her hands and point her fingers. And I said, no, wait a minute.
And who is this? This is Rhonda?
This is Omaria, Rhonda's friend.
Gotcha. Okay. All right.
This is her friend.
All right.
So, and I could be pronouncing her name wrong. I'm not even sure. That's really not my concern. However, So I just said, I tell you what, just please leave my daughter alone. Keep her name out of your mouth and leave her alone. So I have no idea about she's supposed to be set out or any of that. So I had a good friend that still serves at that church, and I brought it to his attention, and I told him about, you know, what was going on in church and how Audrey was coming home crying all the time. And he said, wait a minute, let me tell you something. And I said, okay. He said, they're not going to handle that like you think. And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, Rhonda and Homira is cool, and she's going to take sides with her. And I thought, well, this lady is an elder. It shouldn't be about taking sides. This is the house of the Lord. This should be her getting together with the women and sowing into each of them with a spirit of love and telling them, no, we don't do that here. And so I said, I have to give her the benefit of the doubt because I don't believe she would do that. I just did not believe that. And so after that, next thing I know, my daughter is calling me on the phone. Nope, I take that back. So once he told me that, I thought to myself, well, maybe I should contact the First Lady because she, however, is over the volunteer ministry. So I
so Audrey was a volunteer.
Audrey was a volunteer at the church for a year, and as I first stated, she had just got an award for outstanding servitude.
Got it.
And so I thought, well, I can call the First Lady or either make an attempt to reach her. So I sent her an email, and I named the email Despicable Acts in the Church. And she didn't reply to the email, so I called her on the phone. She answered, and I explained how my daughter was coming home every Sunday crying. And I said, look, I don't know what's going on, but, I mean, is there a problem with Audrey? Is there anything that you know about? And she said, well, no, I don't know of anything. She said, but I'll tell you what, we'll get all the parties together, and when my husband comes back, we'll all have a meeting, and we'll talk about this incident. So I said, okay. Well, then next time, it was Sunday. Audrey went to church, and I stayed at home because I was working. Next thing you know, my daughter calls me and says, I've just been beat up at the church. Imagine how frightened I was. I'm hearing my daughter screaming over the phone. I don't know what she's saying because she's just screaming. And now my heart is palpitating. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how many people that's listening to your show, but understand I am a mother first. I am her mother. And the fear that I had when I heard my baby screaming like that. And here's one thing that is genuine is her screams. Anybody that has saw that video, her screams were genuine. So she's screaming, and now I done took off. I don't even have my car. I done took off running because we didn't stay far from the church. Because I got to get to her because I don't know what's going on. So let me just set up the Potter's House. At every Potter's House location, there is police presence. There's police presence and there is security. Audrey was well known at that church because she had did the welcome for a year. If Audrey was not supposed to do that welcome, those people would have known because you have police officers in the front, you have 2 security guards when you enter into the sanctuary to your right and to your left. At the front of the sanctuary, you have 2 security guards in the front of the sanctuary, and then you have 2 security guards in the back, and you have those that walk the pastor into the sanctuary. All of these people knew Audrey. So if Audrey wasn't supposed to serve, how hard is it to tie together words and phrases to form sentence? I have a real problem with that because all they had to do was give that child the message and tell her, you are not supposed to do the welcome today. And here's why. We're going to pull you in the office, not with a 400-pound man, but with somebody that's going to handle the situation with a spirit of love and meekness, because after all, that's what the word of God says.
Yeah.
If one of you are overtaken with the fault, ye with the spirit of love and of meekness. That's what the word of God says. It doesn't say that you go and beat them up. That action was no different than what you would do in a doggone street club or a strip club. The Bible also says, how do you know that they are mine? By the way that they love. Where's the love? They treated that girl despicable. It was ugly. It was demoralizing and diminishing, like they wanted to take everything that God had put into her. And that was awful. Now, as I understand it, and I will tell you, I have not seen the whole video yet, and I will not watch that video. Because that video was so disturbing to me that we could carry on, that we've gotten so far away from the truth until we handle ourselves like that in the church. But it gets worse than that. Even after that whole thing occurred, when Wednesday night came, wait, let me back up. Audrey, as I said, has been raised in the church all her life. All of her people, her uncles on my side, all of them pastors. Audrey, after she got delivered and realized how God had delivered her and brought her back into herself, she would get filled with the Holy Ghost and speak with the evidence of other tongues. Brandon, with his big tail, told her, don't you shout up here. You go in the back of the church and shout.
Oh, God.
And I guess that's so that they can keep the showmanship so it doesn't look like it's a church. Then you got to fill out this personality questionnaire in order for you to serve. That's mind manipulation. You're trying to get in people's head to see how you can control them. I ain't never seen nothing like that in church.
So let me ask you this. So prior to this debacle, the things that you're mentioning to me is like now you're did the event cause you to start looking at the church differently?
No, his action started making me look at the church differently. The whole thing started making me look at the church differently because I didn't know, as I forestated to you, that I was going to a church like that. I mean, with the showmanship that was being displayed, I really believed the word that was coming out of my pastor's mouth. I believed that he was authentic.
With the life,
but I learned.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut through. You finish your statement.
I thought that he was authentic. I thought he meant what he said. Until that Wednesday night after my daughter got assaulted in his church and he defended his friend. Now I want to make something else clear. Brandon has a domestic violence charge as well as an assault charge. Most employers, when they hire you, especially if you're going to be a security officer or security manager, they want to make sure that you don't have the capacity to harm other people, that you have the fortitude and the tact.
Wait a minute, I need a moment to take that in. So you mean to tell me that the security guard, 459 pounds that it was, he was able to, he was there for 10 years according to the information I have that may not be right. He was able to have that job with domestic violence charges. Who hired him? I wonder this the reason why and Jake's and what Jake said. He said
employed by Jake's Ministries. He's employed by TD Jake's Ministries. And that's another thing. The letter that you read about Bishop Jakes, and when we have to ask people to leave, nobody asked Audrey to leave. I counted it. Audrey screamed for her life, let me out of this room, over 31 times. And that's against her civil liberty rights.
Now, look, so I wonder this why in the letter Jake said that he was going to look at policies and change policies, because to me, there's a policy and there's some kind of breach and breakdown to where a man with a domestic violence charge can begin to be a security guard at a church. And it's clear in this video that he has a certain kind of disregard
aggression
and disregard for the female because she's little. She's small. And then I don't know how small. It look like to me she's small. But I know she ain't no 400-pound man. So in my opinion,
she's only 5 foot.
She's 5 feet.
She's 5'2".
Wow. So she's really a small frame. So that's very interesting to me. Now, this is the thing I want to ask you, and I want you to continue to finish telling your story, but I got to ask this because on my mind I'll be done forgot.
Okay,
how does this, why is the lawsuit against the Potter's House and T.D. Jakes when it's Brandon, Rhonda, and possibly, because you said Pastor Patrick Winfield took up for him in front of the congregation? I hope that ain't what you said. I hope that ain't what you said, but it sounds like to me that he did take up for the guy in front of the church on Wednesday night Bible study. So I want to understand, why is it against T.D. Jakes and against the Potter's House?
So, as I forestated, he is employed or was employed, I'm not real sure, by the Potter's House.
Okay.
So, as you said, there is a breach, because if you are working at any place, there is a certain decorum that you should be following. But according to the video, when my child asked to leave the room, he said, "No, I'm going to teach you church protocol today." So where is he getting that from? Who's teaching him that he needs to beat women up in order to get them to listen to him? Where does that come from?
There's something wrong with that. That you can't make none of this. None of what you said. You can't make none of this right. You just can't make a piece of it right. Now, mind you, I love Bishop T.D. Jakes. I don't know nothing about the Potter's House, but I like T.D. Jakes. But it sounds like to me that the Jakes that I know and that the world loves, his spirit got over there to Fort Worth. It got over there to Fort Worth. It's not over there. If Patrick got it, it ain't filtered all the way down. Oh, tell me about that. You said that Patrick stuck up for the man. Tell me what he said.
So on that Wednesday night, my family and I were gathered around the television because we wanted to know what he was going to say. Now, mind you, I want you to keep in mind, this was our pastor. Yeah. So our hearts were pure towards him. Yeah. This was our pastor, our shepherd. We believed everything he was telling us up until that point. But he got on stage and he came out with a Suge Knight demeanor. His bravado was kicked in. I mean, he was flexing his muscles. And he said, and I'm paraphrasing, but he said, while we were in front of the church celebrating somebody else's breakthrough and rejoicing, the devil was in the back getting busy. And when the devil couldn't have his way, he went to the fowls of the air. He said, and all those who got a problem with it, they not saved no way. When they go low, we go high. Now I want to pray for Brandon, Audrey, and Rhonda. Okay, now I don't know where the prayer came from because you just said.
Okay, repeat that one more time. I gotta make sure I take that in. Tell me what it said one more again.
The whole entire thing?
No, yeah. What you said the devil when the devil was in the back messing and what?
No, he said while we were in front of the church celebrating somebody else's victory, the devil was in the back getting busy. And when the devil couldn't have his way, and all the time he's walking on the stage and he's flexing his muscles and his bravado, I mean, he was really gangster. Mm-hmm. And he continued to say, when the devil couldn't have his way, he took to the fowls of the air. He said, and those that believe it, they not saved anyway.
I get what you saying. I get it. So when he said he took to the fowls of the air, meaning that she went online and she blasted the church.
Exactly.
Ow.
Exactly.
Lord, these preachers they kill me with this kind of going on. I couldn't get it. I don't know. I ain't gonna say all preachers.
While we were watching that television, my family and I, it was like somebody had stuck us with a balloon because all our air went out of our bodies. We were so hurt. We couldn't believe he said that. And then he went on to say, if y'all want to leave, go on ahead and leave. There's nothing holding you in them seats. So that right there was mind manipulation. You were saying to your congregation, choose sides. He was talking to his base. He said the Potter's house has already done what we're going to do, and whatever we're going to do in the future, we've already done it already. He said as long as I got my boo by my side or my wife or my love or whatever he called it, he said, I am okay. Then he went on to say, my conscience is godly clear. And that hurt me. It broke my spirit because how is it okay for a woman to be beat in your church and you being a man of God would say that you are godly clear? Your conscience is godly clear. That would bother me. I would want my hands on that.
Okay, let me make a few statements and then I'm gonna get back to you. Show that picture right there where Jakes were ordaining them. I want to give some perspective. Now, one thing I do know is that when someone is in the position that Bishop Jakes is in, because I've been in that position, so I can speak to this, and you have to plug people into certain spaces, it is a faith walk. And many times, especially because I think with the growth that was happening, I think they had to be installed. And I happened to see this episode when this happened. This was being streamed. I happened to watch this. It just all came back to my mind as I sat here. I watched this episode and I saw this, and Jakes was very emotional. Him and Sarita was very moved. So there's some kind of sonship that he has towards Patrick. But even with that, that doesn't necessarily mean, okay, it just says, Jake says, I approve of what you got going on. Same thing what he did with Juanita, same thing he did with Paula, but then they go off and they said and done some other stuff that he just come back no more. So to me, this looks like the situation that has happened. Now, that's the first thing I want to say. And the man wife is fine. I don't care what you say. I hope if he watches, don't get offended, but your wife is fine. That's my type. That's my type of lady, you know. But anyway, she's fine. So I think what you heard, and this is no excuse to what he said, and all of your feelings are as they are, and I 100% understand it because I'm a parent. I think in that moment, and a lot of pastors do this, when stuff happens, the pastor's automatic response is to protect the brand and the image of the church, and sometimes it can seem very heartless, self-serving. Even with this series I'm doing with fatherlessness, I've been having to deal with 3 or 4 other situations. I'm sitting on so many stories and interviews that are coming up because a lot of the pastors, they think about their careers, they think about, you know, the brand before they think about the people and everybody who's involved. So this is a pattern that I've seen. And I think in that moment, whatever was brought to him, whatever people said, whatever happened, he just had to make that situation go away, spiritualize it in the moment, and cause the people to be sensationalized and continue to give and continue to support. But he did it. If what you're telling me is true, I have to call it alleged because I was not there. I have to call it alleged information. But he done that at your expense, at the expense of your family, and the expense of Audrey. Excuse me. At the expense at the expense of Audrey. I want to, and I've done this on the show several times, you know, because I feel as though I should. If you may never get an apology from him, you got one from Jakes, but you may never get an apology from him. But I'm so sorry for what you went through, because that was not the proper approach. And pastors make this mistake. And hear me, we've had different pastors and stuff like this on the show before. We have to handle people like humans, and this is not proper. I wouldn't have even addressed it in the pulpit because it was so sensitive. You're talking about somebody's daughter and child. I don't care that she was 20-something years old. That's still your child when she's 40. You know, so it was just the wrong way to handle this situation. I would not have addressed it at all. All right, you can finish what you're saying, but I just wanted to say that when you said that, because that is very concerning. If he said exactly what you said, and I'm not calling you a liar, but I just have to say alleged as a non-biased third party, but that is horrendous. It's horrible.
Well, I will tell you, he said exactly that, and you are absolutely right that it was at the expense of my family and I, because we continue to be hurt, and his words continues to echo, because that was just an horrific act. It was very thug-like, and it was very tribal. And you are right. He was talking to his base because it was a fight or flight moment, and he chose himself over Audrey. That's so. Did anybody ever think about how that felt to my child? Did anybody think about how that felt to her sister? Actually, her sisters, her uncles, her aunts, her parents. Did anybody think about what that felt like to us? I was a member of that church 4 years, and this man never called my child right here in Fort Worth with him. He never called. He never stopped by. But there was a community activist that was supporting Audrey. He called that man up and told him to stop supporting her. Now, do you have an excuse for that?
So hold on for a minute. Hold on. You said that Patrick Winfield, and this is alleged. I gotta say it when I say it, because folks like to send me cease and desist letters.
That's okay, because I'm saying it.
Yeah, but
it's okay.
Folks like to send me cease and desist letter. I just got one before I got on the air from something I ain't even said. But anyway, and you mean to tell me that he called the activist and told him to stop supporting Audrey?
Stop supporting Audrey, and I'm going to tell you why he did that and how I know he did it. Because the activist called us. He explained who he was, and he had an incident here where his sister was falsely arrested. And Patrick stood up with him and marched with him. So I guess Patrick felt like one favor deserves another. So he called the guy and told him, don't support her anymore, that we're going to take care of her. The guy called us up and said, I want you to know that he told me not to support you anymore. And that guy has not supported her since. And on top of that, Brandon has not been charged because Jake is so in cahoots with the Fort Worth PD that he was not charged. They viewed the video and said they find no offense. When weeks prior to that, a white girl was beat on camera, and they picked that dude up. They went to his house and picked him up and arrested him. Yet this guy is not charged for assaulting my daughter.
That's interesting. Okay, so even with the video, okay, who reviewed the video from the police precinct? What police precinct was it that would say that there was no crime?
Fort Worth PD. They said it was not a crime. They did not charge him. He never got charged because what you don't understand, I don't know if you're in Fort Worth or where you are,
Atlanta,
but they are in cahoots with the police department because he has that recidivism Texas reentry program where he helps people stay out of prison. The Potter's House has that ministry, and it's a very good ministry to keep people from going back to jail. So he has the friendships with the district attorneys and lawyers and judges and all of that nature. But to me, when you can visibly see, first of all, let me say this. Let me go back. As I said, I've been in church all my life. I don't understand. If she needed to have a conversation with Audrey, why did she bring 400-pound Brandon in the room?
Well,
that was foul right there.
Well, she said that I heard.
When he began to attack her, well, wait a minute. Let me finish.
Okay.
When he began to attack her, I understand that Deontay was in the room.
Yeah.
I had never met him. but he was in the room. So you let a woman, this elder, supposedly she's an elder. But how can you be an elder and you couldn't handle her with the spirit of love and with the spirit of meekness? How are you an elder? And then when from what I understand, when Audrey began to say, well, I'm supposed to have a meeting with the first lady, and she went on to say something about she don't do lies, and Audrey said, well, ma'am, don't call me ma'am. I mean, everything she did was very contingent.
Yeah, she was on something else. I mean, she was on something else.
In the house of the Lord,
she was
it should not be contingent.
But yeah, if you can tell,
we should be able to talk to one another.
Yeah, but Mom, this 2018 church people is not like the church people that you used to. Most of the people in the church have a great deal of the people in the church have not went through any kind of personal soul growth. The church and the church experience is all an opium. It's all a hallucinogen. And for many people, it's all role play. It's all disassociative disorder party. It is a cesspool of highs to get through the week and to come in there and play whatever this role is. But then when things get real, you begin to see where people really are in their life. And I think that this is what happened here. It's very sad that it transpired, but it is very clear that though they may be great in their gift and in their calling and in their function, but when it comes to their person, when it comes to their character, as I echo what Jake said in the letter, he said things escalated and things were not handled professionally and wasn't handled properly. That's what he said. I said like this, that nigger rose up. And everybody just fell into their normal. And it looks like Audrey, because I guess coming into this life change, she maintained, in my opinion, she maintained professionalism. She maintained a certain stance like, you know, we're in the house of God. This ain't how we supposed to do this. Okay, let me just get my stuff and go. And they went into this power, political, very, I don't know, it's that thing. They went into,
let me tell you what
thing.
It was. Let me tell you what it was. Brandon is a big, giant, insecure man. Because when she said, I denounce my membership, that's when he attacked her. No different. Said he's insecure, so he did what Brandon did. All said, I denounce my membership.
Okay, get closer to your phone. You're going out a little bit. I can't hear you. You're going out a little bit. Say it again.
When I denounced my membership and said, okay,
your signal.
Got tired of arguing with people who wasn't listening.
But I can't hear you. I think your signals went bad. So if you get closer to a window or something.
Okay.
No, you're still cutting out.
Sir?
Say again.
Is it better?
Okay, that's better. I can hear you now.
That he was no different than an insecure man.
Yeah.
Because when Audrey said she was denouncing her membership, that's when he violence and the assault. Awful. I mean, it's so diminishing. It's as if when God began to deliver her, the church people got mad and became her enemies. Even Patrick, his cousin, from what I understand, became very tribal and posted something and said after Audrey was beat up, oh, that girl has bipolar. When this was the same girl that told her a couple of months prior, and you can pull it up because her Facebook is open, a couple of months prior to that, oh, sister, you have a gift. You do the announcement so well. But now she wanted to bring up her bipolar. I would suggest that everybody in that room has something wrong with them because nobody handled themselves more godly and with more dignity than my child. Because you had two people that were employed by the church. Rhonda was employed by the church as an elder and as a church administrator. Brandon as the security officer and manager. And they could not effectively tie together words and phrases to carry a sentence and say to her, you're set down. Instead, they escalated that whole event in that room. And then they put her in a secure room where it was just her against them. How awful is that in a church?
Are you still?
That is no different than what people do in the world.
Right. Are you still a part of the church? How have this affected your spiritual life, where you are? Tell me about that.
It's a struggle. It's a struggle. It hurts. It hurts very deeply. I cannot tell you with words how it makes me feel. But I will tell you, I have questioned 30 years, and that's awful.
Whoa.
I am just very hurt by what they did. And this is why, if you are saved and sanctified, you at least need to consider the soul of the person. Because everybody is connected to somebody. And when you are sick, the people around you are sick. And so that is not okay to hurt people like that. It's not okay for him to go up on the stage with his Suge Knight demeanor and call my baby a devil. It is not okay for him to go up there and say his soul is godly clear. I get everything that you're saying about feeding your base, but when are you a leader? When are you a pastor?
So
I can tell you.
So you're no longer in a church at all?
I wish I would step my foot, because I will tell you one thing. He's an excellent showman, and it's about money. If somebody had a beat up Sarah Jakes, would this be okay? Would this be okay if this was, what's the other girl name? I don't even know her name now. Would this be okay?
Rhonda. Hello?
I'm here.
Okay, so are you?
It wouldn't be okay.
Are you okay? I'm not talking about that church. Do you go to church at all anymore?
No, I don't.
After 30 years?
No, I don't.
This is deep.
Well, I can tell you, sir, I can tell you that it has been a struggle for me, because this kind of hurt, I can't put words to it. It was an awful, awful act that was done to my child. And for somebody that we believed in, I want you to understand me. We believed in him. Every Sunday when he got up there and preached the word, I believed it came from his heart. But he's nothing but a showman.
Okay, let me ask you.
He's a great actor.
Let me ask you a couple of questions. With the change that happened in your daughter's life and the spiritual growth that you experienced under his leadership, do you think that speaks to the validity of who he is on some level and in some part as a spiritual leader?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't speak to that validity at all, because God is still God, and he sits high up on the throne, and he can do what he wants to do and change a life when he says he wants to change.
Okay. All right.
The Bible says, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And that's what took place with that young lady, with my daughter. She had been changed by God. Mm-hmm. And that change caused those women in there to have a problem with her. And they pushed her out of the church. And because of her strength and her love and how she had been raised in the church, she didn't run and she didn't break. And I am godly proud of my child, because she represented well. She raised her voice to try to get over the tree trunk called Rhonda. She raised her voice to just be able to say something over her, but she kept saying, ma'am. She kept saying, this is spiritual. I heard my child say that.
Right, I heard her say that a few times. What was the reason that she was sit down? I mean, because I'm pretty sure people are listening. Okay, now, all right.
Nobody knows. That's what I'm saying. They're ineffective leaders, because how is it that nobody knows? When I called the First Lady, she said she didn't know.
So do you think there was something... do you think there was something amongst the leadership? You said Rhonda had a friend and this one had a friend and da-da-da. Do you think it has something to do with them questioning her lifestyle?
Well, it might have been. Maybe they were all like that. I don't know. But I called the First Lady, And as I said, I also emailed her, and my hope was that she would have taken a leadership role and diffused it, and none of this ever would have happened. Can you imagine if she just would have been responsive? None of this never would have happened.
Okay, say that one more time so everybody can hear that.
I said, just imagine if the First Lady had have been responsive. None of this would have ever had to happen. We wouldn't be heartbroken. My daughter suffered so bad from that because she believed in them. These were her leaders. She worked hard to get to where she was, and she believed. And everything that they put in her, it's like they took it all back. Like, shame on you for changing your life. We liked you better when you came in here messed up.
So you said as a result of this happened back in March, that you have not been back to that church, and you haven't been to church at all because it's been difficult and hard because you were sort of wounded in that space where your pastor, was in your soul. Now, how about your daughter? Is Audrey still, how is she spiritually now?
She's sick. She's spiritually sick. It affected all of us. Her father is hurt, desperately hurt. Her father preaches the word of God. And they try to even diminish her character afterwards by saying she has bipolar and saying that she pushed somebody. She hasn't pushed that big old dude. Had she pushed him, he wouldn't even moved. You're supposed to be a leader in the church, and I am sorry that my emotions are rearing, but to relive these events is very traumatizing. It is very hurtful as a mother. I have not listened to the whole tape because I cannot. This is no different. The way this church did that and tried to cover it up and came out with all kind of crafty emails and very appropriate wording, my daughter hasn't heard from either of them. We're right here in the same state as Bishop Jakes and Patrick Winfield. But let a star call. We'll see him on television, but we're right here. And that hurt our family. And that's not okay. It's not okay to hurt people like that. That is no different than when a person gets shot by a police officer. What's the first thing they do? Diminish their character.
Oh, that's true. That's very true.
And that's exactly what they did to my daughter. But I will tell you this, Audrey had no shame. Audrey came in that church as she was, and she asked God to forgive her. She didn't come in there covering up, acting like she was one thing and she was another. She laid everything out and said exactly who she was. She even did videos to try to reach other young women, explaining her story to try and reach them. They even tried to use that against her. Her whole messaging was to say that if God changed me, he can change you.
Wow.
Yet they took what she did and tried to turn it around and make it seem like she's awful. But these are church people we're talking about.
I'm so glad.
It's a hurtful thing. It's a hurtful thing. And this is why I wanted to come on the radio tonight. This is not about my child. This is not about me. I could give a rack of hoonies if Audrey gets $1. It is principle. And that's not the way you treat people. Not in the house of the Lord. For him to get up there and say, my conscience is godly clear, I wouldn't want nobody hurt under my watch. Not even a little bitty animal. It's not okay to mistreat people.
What do you say to people?
So everything.
I'm sorry, but I want to ask you a couple of questions because we have different viewers, different audience, different opinions. What do you say to people that say, okay, I get this was wrong, even if what Patrick said, if he said that, that was wrong. What Brandon did, wrong. What Rhonda did, absolutely wrong. What you're suffering and your family suffering, wrong. But why is the lawsuit against Jakes and the Potter's house? You didn't answer that. But this is what I'm saying. So if it's against Jakes and the Potter house, it must be the lawyer or either them. They're trying to get some money, or that's what it is. They're trying to get some money. What do you say to that? The people that say that.
Who's trying? Oh, people who's trying to get some money.
No, the people that
Nobody,
say no. The people that say that that's what you guys are doing. How do you answer back to that?
So people like that believe that it's okay for them to suffer at the hands of church people. Okay. Just because they're up there preaching and teaching the word or working the church, it's okay for you to suffer. Look how many children that have been raped in churches. That's okay. Look how many people that have been ostracized in churches, that are wounded, that can't even go to church.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay for pastors to sleep around and tear up families in the church. That's okay.
Now wait a minute. Don't you? That's a sore spot for me. You get me fussing. I'm dealing with a case right now, and I'm trying to convince. And I know she's watching, but y'all know which one it is. I'm trying to convince this baby's mama, who had a baby by a pastor who's married outside of wedlock, to come on the show, because the pastor, though he paid money, he is not in the life of the child. And I'm trying, and there are like 5 cases I have like that, because I'm doing a series on fatherlessness. And I'm trying to get her to see how, although he is not going to acknowledge the child and he's not spending time with the child, that she has a responsibility as the parent to the child to speak up for the child. And trying to, she's communicating, you know, with my, sort of communicating with me, but she will not speak because she doesn't want to tear up a family. And I'm saying, I said, you don't want to tear up a family. I said, you didn't tear up the family. The pastor that had sex with you and kept having sex with you until you had a baby, he tore up his family. That's not on you. Oh, that killed me. That's why I said sometimes I think these pastors of these churches, like this Patrick done allegedly, they think about the big picture and the big scheme of things, and they do it at the expense of some of these people. And I've done it. That's
exactly what I'm saying.
I've done it. And I'm not saying that from a self-righteous space. I'm saying it from a space of what I learned 20 years of pastor and looking back over and saying, you know, I did this wrong. I did that wrong. I done this wrong. You know, so I'm not saying it as a judge sitting here. I'm saying as someone who learned.
Well, I will tell you this. The mind control and the mind manipulation that he fed his people on that Wednesday night, not one of them, and as I said to all of your viewers, Audrey's Facebook is wide open. You can see some of them ones that, oh, you did such a wonderful job. Oh, and you are anointed and gifted. When she was beat up in that church, not one of these people, these are saved people now. These are people who have a spirit of love. These are people that have a spirit of forgiveness. These are people that are supposed to be believers. Because the Bible says the greatest gift is love. Mm-hmm. So now where's the love? They didn't have to denounce their pastor, but they could have said, Audrey, are you okay? They didn't even think about what that did to us. Now, one, and I don't know how many people go there, but I would say every Sunday maybe 1,000. Mm-hmm. Now, one of those members that knew my daughter, a lot of them didn't know me because, as I said, I work a lot. But none of them, not one person, very tribal and very clueless about what it is to go to church, because you're supposed to be serving God, not man. Mm-hmm. And then I did make it up to the church. I forgot to say that part. I made it up to the church past all the police that he had up there trying to make Audrey at fault, and because he know he had did wrong, he kicked her out of the back of the church like a common dog. Mm. And wouldn't even give her purse, threw her purse out at her.
Yeah, I saw that.
This is somebody that they had This is somebody that they had working at the church. This lady was an ordained minister. And as I understand it, she came from Chicago with Patrick. So it's all a clique up there. And they act no different than a common strip club, because I'm going to tell you this, they got that behavior from somewhere. And I would venture to say it came from him, because the way he came out with his Suge Knight attitude, with all of his bravado and talking about when the devil couldn't get his way, he went to the fowls of the air.
That can't. I can't. Oh, my God. I just don't understand.
I don't understand that either. And so and I'm talking about, this happened on Sunday. This was his Wednesday night Bible study. This wasn't, weeks later. This was his Wednesday night Bible study. And for everybody who questioned whether or not she wants some money, she don't need nobody's money. And furthermore, it is not okay for people to mistreat other people. It's not okay because you're a church and you stand behind the cloth. It's not okay. It's not okay to beat people up in the church.
It's not okay. And that's why
it was demoralizing. It was horrific. It was diminishing. It was hurtful.
Yeah, because it happened at the church, it just wasn't an assault. It was a spiritual assault. And that's what is happening.
Exactly.
That's the repercussions that you're experiencing, because it's as if your God has injured you and turned against you.
That's right.
So that's what you're experiencing. So what I'm hoping out of all of this, I mean, if you get money, I think you do deserve a check. I think just because of all of this, I do think you deserve a check, because you were assaulted and that's what happened, damages and stuff and all that kind of stuff. I think your daughter should definitely get that. I do know
and
that. And
Brandon should go to jail too, but the city of Fort Worth, and if anybody's listening in Fort Worth, write your district attorney, because the one of the district attorneys goes to the Potter's House in Dallas, and as I understand it, they're best friends. So we just close our eyes to this. According to the Fort Worth police, they saw the video and they saw no offense.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if you guys definitely can do that, if you're listening, because there are people all over that watch the show in Texas. I'm gonna see how many folk are watching. There's over 1,000 people that are watching us live right now across all on platforms, so I'm pretty sure some of that is Texas. So I think that should be done, because Boys in Blue, they just as bad as the KKK and the white supremacists and the politicians and stuff. Is that same kind of good old buddy boy thing. But this spiritual assault,
that's exactly right,
that you guys have experienced, I hope it's going to take some intense, and one of the first things that you're going to have to do, one of the first things, and I just want to offer this, because I've had some things that happen to me in my life, is to just find a way to begin the process of letting go. And the way that you begin the process of letting go, I think being on this show is going to be the beginning of you and Audrey being able, and the whole family, to begin to let go of the energy that you guys absorbed on the onset of the spiritual assault. A lot of times what happens in our life, our body, our mind, our spiritual body, our emotional body, it just holds the energy. And we get stuck in the energy, and the energy gets stuck in us. And you were spiritually assaulted, and spiritually abused, and spiritually bruised, and so that's spiritually broken. Everything that happened to her physically, how he did and how he picked up, all of that was a spiritual assault. Okay, so not just physical. So I hope that talking about it and exposing it, I would suggest, of course, a counselor talking about it as well. It just can begin the process of healing. Exposure is the first place of healing, and letting go is the first place of letting go is also exposure, or talking about it, or communicating. So if you can just begin to let go of that energy that stepped into your life at the onset of this experience, I think that everything will ultimately be okay, because it does bother me that 30 years in church, you're not in church anymore. You know, Audrey, you know, she changed her whole life. I'm pretty sure she's dealing with some struggles and some things coming to her mind. You might as well just go ahead and that, you know. So I hate to hear that, but I understand it's a reality. And you deserve to, you know, be in pain. And you know, so, but you have to process that thing and then let that thing go. So you go on to the next thing and you know, get back to where you feel as though you belong to be. And I hope that being on this show helped you feel as though I'm being heard, because over 1,000 people listening to you now, and there's gonna be thousands of people, probably 10,000 people in 2 days, and it's gonna continue to grow, and it's always gonna be on our page, youtube.com. You know, so thank you so much for taking trusting this platform, for reaching out, you know. And I didn't even know that the case had it was a solidified case that you guys had done a lawsuit. I didn't know, so I'm so glad that you reached out, you know, and wanted to do it from this platform. Everybody that is watching, I'm gonna get up here, I want to say this to you, I'm gonna joke, I'm gonna say some things, but if you call in and you want to be interviewed because there's something surrounding that is public, don't come bring me nothing that ain't no public. Like, I ain't gonna do that. I don't want to fool you. Gotta go somebody else. But if it's a conversation, something that can spark a conversation that we need to have, then you can trust me. I'm gonna handle you right, and I won't handle you wrong. And you can voice your opinion and your experience. Thank you so much, Mom Stevenson, for doing this interview.
You are very welcome. I felt like the people needed to know what was going on behind the doors of the Potter's House Fort Worth. I think it's very important that they understand what they have done to people, and that's not okay.
Right. Thank you so very much.
It's not okay. Bye-bye.
Okay. All right, we're going to open up the lines. I'm going to open up the lines for about 20 minutes. So shut down, end this episode, and reboot them lines. So we're going to have to reboot the lines right quick so that you can call in.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
This is what I'm going to ask. 1 minute. Y'all, please keep it just, you got to hit broadcast first. Please keep it just, and hit go live now. Please keep, and change that 15 minute to 120. Make sure you keep it to 1 minute, because if you don't keep it to 1 minute, I can't get all of the colorful co-hosts in. You know how the co-hosts come calling here and say all kind of stuff. You know, so I need for you guys to keep it 1 minute. So that we can get everybody's point of view, everybody's opinion in. All right, so we're about to get started with that right now. Here we go. Oh, that's too much. Y'all hear that girl screams? Ah, brother!
Start your show now. Press 1 to hear important.
Your show is scheduled to start in 37
there
seconds.
No acting. I think she felt like he was gonna really break and hurt her. Yeah, you can feel that thing. So I can only imagine how her mom felt. All right, the call-in number is 646-787-8174. That's 646-787-8174. I'm going to ask you your name and where you're calling from. If you don't want to say your name, then maybe you shouldn't be calling in. But your name, where you're calling from.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
I thought we was already live on the
Blog
thing.
Talk Radio.
Okay, so we on the radio now. So call 646-787-8174. I'm gonna go ahead and take the first caller. All right. Caller ending in 3694. What's your name? Where you calling from? You have 1 minute.
This is Reginald calling from Jacksonville.
What's up, Reggie?
Hey, I just wanted to say it's horrible what happened to the sister. We've all experienced church hurt personally or even seen it. I suggest they go ahead and litigate. The church has insurance for these purposes.
Yeah.
And I pray she find a good church.
Yeah.
And grow on with God.
Yeah, she really did.
Later.
Yeah. Thanks so much, man. Let's go. Caller ending in 1980. What's your name and where you're calling from?
Hi, Larry. This is Elizabeth calling from Mississippi.
Hi.
Hi. Real quick, I just want to say that, I do love T.D. Jakes, and I hate to see what happened to this young lady. If I was T.D. Jakes, because he had nothing to do with this,
right,
I would just cut the check, make this go away, but I would fire the entire staff. I would start fresh, and I would start new with new boundaries. This does not look good. That's all I have to say.
I can't. You spoke the sentiments of my heart. I can't agree more. This has absolutely nothing to do with T.D. Jakes, and I hate to see his name and his church name connected to a lawsuit, because it doesn't have anything to do with him.
Yeah.
There is something wrong there. I mean, this isn't like it's not a franchise. I mean, in some senses it is. So you can't micromanage like that. You're trusting people and putting them in certain spaces, and this is just not
Correct.
a good look.
Exactly. Yes.
Nah. Thanks so much for calling in.
Thank you.
Caller in 1106. What's your name and where you calling from? Caller in
Yes.
Yeah.
This is Prophet Darlene Gray from California.
Hey, Darlene.
Zoe Ministry. I just really appreciate the mother and her spirit in which she handled this and addressed this and communicated this. My first cousin attends Jake's Church in Dallas, and so when I first heard this story, I felt some kind of way, because I know how people can be when they want to damage a brand. But when I hear the story today, I resonated, because I know what it is to be abused, sexually abused, physically abused in a church, and then be cast out as evil. So, I went through my transition of walking away from ministry and all of that, and, and God brought me up under my current leadership about 13 years ago. So I want this young woman to understand that this was a demonic attack, because the devil is mad at her. She changed her life. She is going to be a liberator. God is raising her up. She is anointed. And there's a lot of folks sitting up in the church in the closet that's hating on her, because she's the real deal. God bless you, my brother.
Thank you so much for calling in. Tell Bishop I said, what up, and send me $10,000. I know he got it. I need some help.
You need to sow a seed, brother.
Hold on. Wait a minute, Darlene. I sold the seed about a week ago, $188 or $88, one of them 88 things. I sold my seed.
But you need to.
I want my money.
You need to call me so I can show you how to walk in the wealth of
I
God.
want my money.
You need to call me because you need some coaching.
You need to tell
Love you,
Bishop
brother.
to give me my money. That's what you need to do. Tell Bishop I says give me my money.
No, you need to pay your tithe in the right place.
Bye, get off my phone. Get off my phone.
You need coaching, brother.
Get off my phone.
You can't sow one seed and then expect a floodgate.
I sold more than what I've been sowing for years. You get off my phone. I love it, Darlene.
In the right church. Love you.
I love it too. Ow. Okay, let's okay. Caller. You done called into this place and you got all these ones. I don't know who the heck you is. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this is Joyce coming from Virginia.
Hi.
Am I on there?
Yeah, you online, girl.
Oh, okay. Well, praise the Lord. Listen, that was, I agree with the caller just before me, that was a demonic attack. I feel for the mother that they need to forgive, and let go of all of that anger and that hurt and that pain, because God is a healer, and He will heal emotionally as well as physically and spiritually. So, but they are deserving of compensation, because that was a physical attack as well as a spiritual and mental attack on this young lady. It's demonic, and there are churches and there are cults, and this sounds like a cult and not a church, because the church is the body of Christ, where Jesus is the head, and God is love, the devil is evil, and all this is just demonic and evilness. God ain't in that mess. That's not of God. God is love.
Wait a minute.
God is love, and He wants us to love each other, and that we would know each other by the love that we have for each other. That's where's the love? Huh?
Are you right?
Love?
I
God
hear
is
you.
love.
I hear you.
So I'm praying for all of them, but
Definitely.
she deserves to be compensated, and I would suggest to the mother that she get ask for an independent investigation, or have the FBI investigate this situation. So that boy needs to go to jail. He physically abused this woman, this young lady in church. He attacked her and physically abused her. That's a crime. That is a crime, and it's deserving of punishment, too.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to take up no more of your time, but I thank you so much for allowing me this time, and God bless you.
Thank you so much for your input. Well, she said to my, what did she say? What she just said for me, she tickled me when she was saying that. That's some mess. What is that? How she said it? That was funny. It tickled me. All right, let's call her. Caller in 7770. What's your name? Where you calling from? You have 1 minute.
Hey, good evening, Larry. This is Curtis calling out of Atlanta, Georgia. I just wanted to, chime in. And what I really want to say is that if you get a check, get your check. But also, man, make sure that you forgive, because I've been in that situation before with dealing with church hurt, especially in leadership. People that are not the pastor, but that want to say words that will hurt, and not just put their hands on you, but say stuff. And I've been in that position, and I'm telling you, you just want to just fight in the back room like the pastor was talking about. But for years and years, those words will play in your head. If you don't forgive those people and get them out of your heart, it will ruin your relationship with the Lord. But if you get your check, but forgive.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for calling in, man. Caller in 5502. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hi, Larry. It's Marlene.
What's up, Marlene?
Hey, listen, I just wanted to say, when people, I understand her pain. I really, really do. And as a mom, I can get it. And as a grandmother of 6 grandchildren, but I just want to speak to it. Maybe you could speak to it. Why do you think it's important sometime, and I kind of get it, for things like this to be tried in public opinion? Because you asked some very pointed questions that weren't fully answered. One is, why is Bishop Jakes being sued? And people would look at it and say he's the one with the money.
Yeah.
So you would sue him as opposed to what's his name, Winfield?
Yeah, Patrick Winfield.
Okay. As opposed to coming after him. And then the other thing is, too, that you teach us so much when I listen to you about saying things that are alleged, because when you start saying that people are in bed with the police department, you speak to corruption along with ministry. And if anybody knows anything about Bishop Jakes, the last thing in the world that he wants is, and I don't mean this in an indictment to him, is for any slander to be on his brand.
Oh, yeah.
That's why he was quick to apologize. So I want to say, I don't think that he knew that people are acting like that. Now, is it his responsibility to eliminate those people? Because that's like management. It absolutely is. But I really am praying for her, and I pray that people quit God right away when church hurt happens, and I can get that. But you spoke very well to her connecting back to a place with God, because that was the heaviness that I was listening to more than anything.
Yeah.
That she's not even going to church. It's like my
After
grandmother
30
said, quit God.
years.
That's why I said that. She just quit God, because of that. But I think you're doing a good thing. But I just want you to speak to a little bit, when you have another time, maybe this is not the night, to the court of public opinion, because I think that's where people misunderstand you too.
Well, yeah.
You get what I'm trying to say?
But see, I just said that today. I made a statement, and this is very true. And what people don't understand, the court of public opinion is higher than the Supreme Court and any other court, because of social media and because of the information age. You can go to court. Look at OJ is out. Suge Knight got out. He went back in there for something else. When you got the public that sees you a specific way, it really does not matter what happened in that courthouse, even if there's no evidence found upon you. If the people start talking and indict you, it's done. So that tells us
But
this.
do you think it's fair, though?
But
do you think there's some unfairness included in that?
But let me tell you this. I do think that it's unfair. But but to tell you the truth, I'd rather be treated unfairly in the court of public opinion than in the actual court, because that's going to follow. Okay. That's going to follow you, your business, your name, and wherever your name is written forever. But public opinion, we swift and we switch and change. We be on Jake's tonight. A preacher get up and do something Sunday. Monday and Tuesday we on somebody else. So Thursday Beyonce show up naked somewhere. We're gonna be on that for 2 weeks. It changes so very much. And I do know that the public is fickle. I do know that. But at the same time, I can send a tweet right now and somebody can lose their job because they didn't do my order right now. And I'm thinking about it, I'm getting upset because that's what they done last night, Cheesecake Factory, and gave me some rice instead of the egg noodles. But anyway, but that's how powerful the age that we live in. It is just the age we live in. And I think this is the reason why a lot of people do not even understand why I do this platform that I do. It's because I like to populate the narrative with different thought. Though I'm going to be comedic in what I say, I have certain moments in this show where I'm able to do things that's really tied to my calling. Like I was able to speak to her spiritual assault. You know, the other day when that boy called in and he was mad about his father, I was able to take a moment and pray for him concerning fatherlessness. I get so many emails all the time where people's lives are being changed. You know, so that's the reason why I do this show, because public opinion is so powerful in this age. Okay, now
but before we hang up, do you think it gets turned around to look like gossip? Or, well, we know it's not gossip because you don't do anything that you don't, and that's one thing I told somebody. I said, he ain't getting on there with no foolishness. But I mean that it looks like exposure, not gossip.
Yeah, and well, it is
you are exposing.
Well, in some ways it is like, in the simple definition of gossip. Let's look at the simple definition of gossip. According to Merriam-Webster, it's casual or unconstrained conversation or reports about other people, typically involving details that are not confirmed as being true. So that was that. When I say alleged or something like that can classify as gossip. And the other thing you said it is not. I forgot you said another word, but yeah, it can classify as gossip.
I said exposure, like people, because those are the comments you get, like when I'm reading the comments sometimes, like, who are you to kind of like
I don't care about that.
The
I don't care about
police, like you put people on blast.
Yeah, I don't care about what they say about it being gossip. I mean, and I don't never refute that, but there's an element in the definition of gossip that talks about intent. The intent of gossip is malicious. That ain't what I do. You know, and then also exposure. I'm not going to expose and put nobody's personal business out there, but I am exposing, meaning I'm creating conversation around stuff that people aren't talking about. You know, so I don't have no problem with that kind of going on. They don't bother me at all. I had to get past that before I decided to do this in the way that I'm doing it. It doesn't bother me.
But I thank you for that, because I'm saying that because I've been listening to you for years when we used to be on the radio with Daryl Scott. Now, remember?
Oh wait, you know this, right, Molly? You from way back. You from now you know that.
I'm saying that because you have the conversations that people won't have in church. And that's why I support you, because the conversation has to be had.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you.
And let me say this, because I'm getting this alert. I'm from someone, and they're saying, please clarify that Bishop T.D. Jakes has not been sued. It's T.D. Jakes Ministries and the Potter House, because they're the corporations that's responsible for hiring these people. But of course, you guys, this is what you call it. It's media. So you think T.D. Jakes Ministries or Potter House, don't everybody think Thomas Detson? Don't nobody be thinking about nobody else. We don't even think about Sarita and Sarah or Cora or none of them, Jermaine, none of them, the Jakes Jr. III. We think about Thomas Dexter. So that's why his face is plastered over Christian Post and all the other outlets that's discussing this case that just dropped a few weeks ago. Thank you so much, Marlene, for calling.
I'm going to get off your phone.
All right.
I love you.
I love you too,
I
man.
love Bishop Jakes. I ain't saying nothing bad about him.
Look,
man.
Look. I love, you know, if you watch this show, I love Jakes. Somebody texted me and said, I saw what you about to talk about. You know that's my bishop. You better be careful. I said, look, you know I love Jakes, but I don't care who I love. Man. I don't care who I love. I'm gonna speak my opinion.
I hear you.
Have a
good weekend.
All right, you too, baby. Whether it is bye-bye. Whether good, bad, or indifferent, I'm gonna talk about you. That's why folk watch the show. They want to see what I'm gonna say about it. Good, bad, or indifferent. Gonna talk about you. But I love Jakes. You know, I love Jakes. You know, but I ain't like some of y'all. Y'all got y'all golden calves and golden cows, and y'all won't even have an opinion. And the nigga can be dead wrong, and y'all still. Say, man, I got touched on my anointing. I ain't never drunk that Kool-Aid ever in my whole life, ever. With my spiritual father, Bishop L.L. Stevenson, God rest his soul, and my other mentors, Apostle Elijah Forte, and so many other people. I'm gonna say what I got to say. Wait a minute, y'all. Nancy done said something powerful in this pink shirt. He said you're not touching the anointing if you just have an opinion.
I don't understand why people say that kind of stuff.
You prayed today? You look like you pray. Your eyeballs look white. Because let me tell you, my grandma and them said, when you pray, your eyeballs it be white and your face lit up. And when you ain't praying, you get that jaundice in your eye and the skin look funny. Well, God, we thank you. It's probably called Jake's on the show.
I like Jakes.
Yeah, I like Jake's too. But this girl done got a beat down, and somebody need to. This got to be fixed. All right, take some more callers. Right. Caller ending in 4239. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hey, Larry, this is Jordan.
Hey, Jordan. You ain't called in months. What's up with you?
I know, Larry. Listen. I have to catch you at the gym real late at night. I thank God for the night. So.
Okay.
But listen, you feel the energy of just violation and rape.
Oh, yeah.
When I watch that video, I really feel violation and rape. And you know, I think they do need to pay her. In my opinion, they need to pay her because when you praise somebody and they're wrong, it only further validates, you know, their wrongness. And for them to not persecute or prosecute the guy Brandon, but to actually, you know, keep him on staff or to, you know, make it right in any type of way, it only gives him that much energy and that much strength to continue on in this manner. They'll keep on doing it. And it'll be right. And I think for people to watch this, even the staff or even, you know, anybody associated with it, and not to feel the injustice that that lady suffered, I think, you know, they're not considering themselves. They're not considering that this could have been anybody.
Yeah.
You know, I think they must be, you know, finding strength in the fact that she has some kind of mental disability, but it literally could have been anybody that this happened to. I sit in churches and go to churches and hear stories about churches where the pastor asks questions that lead towards this outcome. You know, asks you a question like, do you support me? And if you say no, you automatically the devil. And they'll rally up against you and do any number of things to you because you're not for the cause. This literally could have been anybody. They should do something indefinitely to right this wrong. It was a major wrong.
Major wrong. I will have to agree. Thank you so much for calling in, man. Glad we were able to catch you live.
Well, thank you. Bless you.
All right. Yeah, that's true. All right, next call. I'm going to take a few more and we out, y'all. Caller in the 8716. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hey, Larry, this is Jay from Detroit, Michigan.
What's up, Detroit?
What's going on? First of all, I want to say kudos to the PR person that wrote that letter for Bishop Jakes. They did a very good job in the way they worded everything. I know he got the best people. Number two, I want to say earlier in your interview with the mother, she said that the security guard worked for T.D. Jakes Enterprises or T.D. Jakes Ministries. And then later on in the interview, she said that he worked for the Potter's House. And I want for our listeners to know that those are two different entities.
Yeah.
So are they suing both of those?
They're suing both.
Because I know as you know, as a former pastor, pastors are very sensitive. It's a difference between their ministry and the actual church that they pastor.
Right. They're suing both.
You know, their ministry might own the rights to the CDs or the preaching that they do, and the church is just the church.
Right.
So it's like two different things that we're talking about.
Right.
And lastly, the last thing is, is that this altercation should have never got physical at all.
At all.
Never got physical at all. With an elder and administrator and the security should really not have been involved unless they were literally about to go to blows. To me, it should have been a peace conference. I read this book called Let's Stay Together by Rhonda Robertson, and she talked about a peace conference where it should happen in the body of Christ. And so nobody should be getting physical with each other at a church service. It should have been able to be an elder and a parishioner speaking to each other. And then she got two roles as an elder and a church administrator. I don't know how that's going to work out. So that was a big thing to me.
Yeah, I would have to agree with a lot of what you said. Thank you. But they are suing both T.D. Jakes Ministries and the Potter's House. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Caller ending in 6267. What's your name and where you're calling from?
Hello, this is Dr. Chris Lord calling from Brooklyn, New York. First of all, I was just going to say, Bishop T.D. Fakes is an evil spirit. That's what he is, okay? And he doesn't care about any kind of controversies that pop up. He'll just brush them under the rug. That's what he's always done. When I started going to this church in 2010, there was another guy who was pastor of Fort Worth. His name was Derek Faison. As soon as some kind of controversy popped up with Derek Faison, reportedly, the rumor was that he had an affair with an elder's wife at the church. T.D. Jakes let him go really quickly and put Winfield in and replaced him so quickly, just deleted his name off the website and everything. You didn't even know what happened. It was a big shock to me at the time because I was like, wait, why did this happen and what's going on? And one Sunday Faison was there, the next Sunday he wasn't. That's how quick it was. Jakes has a gay son, Sarita Jakes, Jermaine Jakes, and reportedly sometime in after 2000, he was arrested in a sex sting for jacking off in a park in Dallas. Chris Hill, who was a protege of T.D. Jakes, had sexual relations with his own goddaughter, okay? And he presided over the marriage ceremony of the goddaughter, okay, and the husband, and would invite both the goddaughter and the husband in his private jet with him whenever he traveled all around, wherever he traveled, having sex with the goddaughter while the son, while the husband was on the plane. I mean, I don't know if he was doing it on the plane, but anyway, he was inviting the husband over so that, he could keep it undercover. Also, it's reported that Jakes helped Deion Sanders hide money from his wife during his divorce. Let me tell you something. This is a consistent pattern. This isn't just Jakes always brushes it under the rug, and because he is powerful in the kingdom of darkness, no one says anything about it. But I'm going to blow it over and put it out there. And also, he had me arrested 3 times. I'm a PhD in material science and engineering. I got my PhD from Iowa State University. He had me arrested 2 times. You can look it up. Dallas County Jail has the records. Okay.
You got arrested.
Jakes is fake.
T.D. Jakes got you arrested?
3 times. The first time was because I ran around butt naked during Wednesday night Bible study in protest to them because I was working at Texas Instruments at the time. I had given an idea to Texas Instruments. They told me that if I would talk to the people at Potter's House, it was an idea for evangelism. It was just to create a device. I'm not going to say all the details because, Texas Instruments owns the idea, but it was just to create a device that could be used for evangelism, okay?
Chris,
they said if I could
you
get
said you
Potter's
ran
House
around
on board,
butt naked.
Yes, but let me just tell you real quick. Texas Instruments said that if I could get the device and get Potter's House to agree to helping them work with them to get this device produced, okay, that we could have an evangelism tool. When I tried to talk to the people at Potter's House, they completely ignored me. I'm an engineer. Okay, I was working for Texas Instruments at the time. I was trying to make connections between the Potter's House and Texas Instruments for evangelism, and they screwed me over. Okay, multiple times over, okay? Yes, I ran around butt naked because I was protesting them because I had been there since 2010, the summer of 2010, trying to solidify a relationship with them. And once I finally graduated in 2013, I came out to the church, you know what I mean? Just to, work on evangelism and help out, you know what I mean? And they taught me to the side, and that's when I started to realize that these people are demons. They don't care about the work of Jesus Christ. They care about the work of the devil. Why would they ignore me and I have an evangelism project to work with Texas Instruments?
You know what?
Unless they really just, you know what I mean?
I'm tickled. You stripped out your panties, your bra.
That's right. Protesting that.
And you protest.
At the time, yeah.
Okay. Hilarious. Thank you so much for calling in, Chris.
Let me tell you something. I look pretty good. I look pretty darn good naked. But anyway.
Okay. Thank you so much for calling in, Chris.
No problem. Bye.
Oh, God, she's always colorful when she called in. This is like a third time in her. She said your butt naked. I'm so tickled. Yeah. Okay, caller in at 9960. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hi, Reid. I'm so happy to talk to you. I'm Michelle from Florida.
Hi, Michelle from Florida.
I just want to say, this is really cool because I always listen to you at work because I be asleep normally, and then I listen to you like a podcast. So to really be on here is cool. But okay, I'm taking up my time. I just wanted to say that this is not an isolated incident. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like this goes on in churches all over. So my prayer is that she really gets justice. You know what I'm saying? Even with him not being able to, have charges pressed against him, she needs the money. All these cliques and stuff that's going on in church, the fact that, the elder was I think she said on the tape, she was like, well, who told you could talk to the first lady?
Yeah, I heard that.
You know what I'm saying?
I heard that.
She's our first lady, Michelle Obama. You know what I'm saying? It's these cliques in there, these leaderships in the church, you know what I'm saying? They feel like they need to surround the leadership of the church so much so they can kind of control and in a way manipulate, what they're hearing and what they're getting, and you're hurting other people.
Yeah,
so
that's serious.
That's all I want to say. I love the show.
And the show loves you back. Thank you so much for watching.
Okay.
All right. Okay, let's take this is probably gonna be my last one, you guys. Caller ending in 0086. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hi, Reid. This is Joanne from Florida. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Hey, I'm calling because I want to disagree with you about that it has nothing to do with Jakes. I think it has everything to do with Jakes, and here's my reason why. I was part of a similar type ministry, and one of the things that you're taught from 1 Corinthians chapter 1:10, and it says, now I beseech you, brethren, by the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, that you all speak the same thing, and that there be no divisions among you, that there be perfectly joined together in the same mind, in the same judgment. And so what they do is they use this as leadership, because I was part of the leadership, my husband and I. They use this to say, you say what I say, you do what I do, and you make the same kind of judgment that I would make. And so that language that she was using, that the pastor was using, came directly from Jakes. I believe that with all my heart.
Okay. I believe it may have came from the leadership there. I mean, listening to what the lady said, looking at how the pastor handled everything, I definitely would say it definitely came from him. But I don't know. But I don't know Jakes. I don't know him. I don't know. So I can only say I don't think so. But I can't say you're wrong. But I don't know about that.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much for calling in.
You're welcome.
Yeah. All right. I hate seeing them lines filled, and you guys, I gotta go. I love each and every last one of you, and make sure you sign up for our alerts because there are some conversations. Oh my God. And I'm trying to pace myself because I got a lot of stuff I got to do and some interviews. It really is a lot of interviews. So make sure you just sign up for the text notifications because I may have to do it strange. You know, and I may have to, you know, so make sure you just do text notification. And if you're watching us on Facebook, make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe because we may just end up doing this show completely from YouTube because I have more liberties there. And plus, people can watch and then not be seen, and subscribe and not be seen. It's more confidential there. All right, I love each and every last one of you. Make sure that you stream all the music and get this here that Mark Sharon has forwarded for me. It's called Let the Church Say Change as opposed to Amen. It's basically dealing with the unmasking the outmoded paradigms of the church and confronting some of them. Okay? All right, talk to you later.
Support the growth of your favorite digital show with just a text. Support Larry Reid Live by texting GIVE to 404-800-4530. Text GIVE to 404-800-4530 today.
The Merge Summit. The Merge Summit is back October 11th through 13th at the Universal Hilton in Universal City, celebrating 10 years of excellence. This year's Merge Summit Experience, presented by AIDS Healthcare Foundation and Walgreens, promises to deliver power-packed masterclasses, networking opportunities, and career-defining moments, all led by some of the entertainment's most successful artists, actors, creators, entertainers, and executives in TV, film, digital media, music, and more. If you are an aspiring writer, artist, actor, director, or producer, and you have a heart for the entertainment business, the Merge Summit 2018 is for you. October 11th through 13th. Special discounted early bird registration available now for limited time only at mergesummit.com. That's mergesummit.com. The Merge Summit to the 10th hour. 10 years and growing. Don't miss it. The Merge Summit is a production of Relevate Entertainment, proudly presented by AHF and Walgreens.